Oh, I see it.
Okay, it looks like we're live now. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona, and welcome to New Light Streaming Love. Today is Wednesday, February the 25th, 2026, and I am so glad and so blessed that you two were able and available and ready to do this. Please welcome my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, and a good friend of ours, Summer Isabel. And so I want to go ahead and pull up the thing here so that I can see the chat. But if you are seeing this um, after the fact on Sassy Seer Sheila, it will not be live. If you are tuned into New Light Streaming Love, however, it is live, and I do encourage questions if you like. So, ladies, I know that all three of us I'm kind of a latecomer to the having health challenges. Really, it just sort of started at the end of 2025 this time around for me. But both of you have had some pretty, at least in your case, serious
Mm.
health challenges. So um, please share whatever you feel called to share. I have titled this The Body Piece because I know we've talked a lot about that, Lisa.
Yes.
So, do you want to start us off, Lisa,
Oh,
or
I'd love to.
okay?
You know, I feel like this one's a long time in coming. Like we've been building this one up for quite a while now. And it's like it's now or never. This is the time. It literally has to happen now, it feels like. And I'm rolling with it. Whatever has to happen now, I'm gonna just allow it to happen. And that's where I'm at. And I love the name that you chose, the body piece, because in my mind's eye, I see it as piece, like a puzzle piece, but also peace, Peace, because I realize that for me personally, I have been at war with my body um, from the beginning. I think I have felt ill at ease within my body. And I very early on learned how to check out and disconnect from my body. And, I feel like I was hovering in the mind space, not quite in my body. And so I wasn't receiving the telemetry from my body. And I remember having a moment where my body told me that I'm not long for this world. If I don't get into my body and connect, I won't be here for much longer. And I knew that was the truth. I could feel that in every fiber of my being. I was very, very sick and getting worse and worse symptoms that I knew were not good. And of course, the doctors were telling me that I was heading down, the wrong road, a
Well, that's been
tragic,
some time ago,
tragic.
right?
What's that?
That was some time ago that
Yes, yes,
realization came to you, and
exactly. So I'm gonna say circa 2005, 2006. And I flirted with the idea. Only back then I would have told you, yes, I connected to my body and got right in there. But really, I just flirted with the idea. And it wasn't until around 2009, 2010 that I really um, got serious. I realized just how disconnected I was, and I worked hard to build relationship and rapport with my body. Like I made it a mission, a full-time job. I kept it right up front. Um, and really changed everything for me. I began a series of synchronistic happenings started for me, and I began to really travel down the yellow brick road to health and wellness way back then. And it was just each piece that I was ready for would show up. And I had to be willing to step on that brick, right? And to explore that which was being shown to me as a piece of my puzzle. And so I've been on that path ever since. And it's really been a long path, but also it feels like a very short amount of time. It's gone so fast for me, and lots of things have taken place. So I've learned a lot, I've healed a lot. Um, when I started this adventure, I was about 332 pounds. I know I got a little heavier than that because um, I stopped going to the doctor. My scale stopped at 300, but the last doctor's appointment I had me over. He said, "Oh no, you're well over 300 pounds." I was like, oh, I was really, really in denial with where I was, even, body dysmorphia, like crazy. Um, I knew I was heavy. I had a mirror. But I didn't realize, I didn't allow myself to feel the significance and the danger of the situation. Just how heavy I really was. I didn't allow myself to know intimately. I just skirted the issue, flirted with the idea that I'm going to do something, but I didn't really do something until much later, And so when I was faced with those numbers and that reality, because the doctor just laid it out on the line. He said, "This is it. If you want to see Jasmine," I had a young daughter at the time, graduate the school and get married and have her children, you have to turn this around right now." And he was pushing really heavy for that bariatric surgery. I had a great health insurance. And he said, "You've got the insurance. I know I can get an okay from them. And now's the time. You have to act now or you're going to be out of time." I just did not want to do the surgery. And because I was already very meditative and connected, I was getting the strong message that I was not to cut myself, that I was to control myself, and that would be way better for me long term.
As somebody who did do that, let me just say I'm so glad that you didn't, because
Me
trust
too.
me when I tell you it is a nightmare.
It sounded like the solution, and I flirted with the idea because he was talking about in a year's time losing 100 pounds. And that sounded wonderful to me, I have to say. And I thought, yeah, it'll be hard, but once, the surgery's healed and everything, it will be wonderful and it will be the solution to all my problems. But the more I meditated on that, the stronger the message was not to do that. And so I was just willing to say, okay, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I've been dieting my entire life, trying to figure out how to get things under control, namely myself. But I was never successful at that. And so I was asked to go out on a limb here and just follow my soul and my body's advice, to like really listen and follow the synchronicities and and follow the path that the universe, God, source, however you want to, my spirit was putting in front of me to look at. And so I began that journey, and I don't regret it for a moment, because it was like the food I needed, the information, the real, the spiritual nourishment showed up when I just said, okay, well, where do I start? And I just asked simple questions like that of myself, of my guidance, if you will. And simple answers began to show up, like actionable intel. I didn't get a dissertation on how the body works and what I need to do step by step for the next 10 years. No, it was what can I do today, and it was tailored specifically to me and where I was emotionally, physically, financially. Like it was tailor made for me. And it was beautiful. It absolutely was, because it was small things. Like I think in the very first thing was just to notice my portion sizes. Like notice how much I'm eating. Just take note. I didn't even have to do anything at first. Just watch myself, become conscious of every morsel of food that, I didn't have to limit or change anything. Just notice, be aware, bring my conscious awareness to every bite. And that was tricky because I caught myself eating in autopilot and going, oh, wait, like I realized I was sleepwalking through my life and eating through most of it, like it wasn't a conscious behavior for me. And
It
so,
actually sounds like something that's easy for anybody, include,
yeah.
and
Well,
the
it meets you where you are for sure. You're
yeah,
you're doing something unconscious. That's absolutely the case with anybody and everybody who's having a health issue, I believe. So yeah, I just started there, and then it was portion control, the portion sizes. Like the first rule that was set for me was no seconds. And then it was, well, let's look at the plate. And how many carbs versus protein have you got going there? How many vegetables have you got versus carbs and protein and stuff like that? And at the same time that I'm just becoming conscious of what I'm consuming, I'm also, people are coming to me, books are coming to me, um, shows, like there were some documentaries about food coming to me. And so I immersed myself then in learning about these things. And so, it was like when I was ready for that data, it showed up right in front of me. And I just dive in with both feet. And then that would get me excited. And because now I was finally conscious of what I was doing, I was in the position to make some conscious changes and to take baby steps toward where I really wanted to be, which was eating right. I wanted to exercise. I wanted to engage my life. And I was not in the position to do any of those things when I first started. So the first step for me was just becoming conscious of where I was and acknowledging that, and just being okay with it. Like I had to do a lot of self-love exercises because I began to hate myself. I really did. When I saw what I was doing, I became ashamed of my behavior. And so I had to really, like, I would just say the first couple of months was getting over that shame and loving myself anyway, acknowledging what I was doing and deciding to love myself through that,
well,
taking me by the hand and walking me to greener pastures is what I had to do.
you bring up a really good point here in regards to bringing all of you to bear on your every moment, because like I said, I hadn't even thought about that until you were speaking about this right now.
Mhm.
How easy it is for all of us to just walk through doing things without that noticing, without that bringing that consciousness to, and to be able then too to see those things that were coming in your field because it would be all too easy to miss it or dismiss it if
Yeah,
one's not actually paying attention.
right, right.
Wow.
Well, the act of observing brought up many questions for me. It
Hmm.
just did. It naturally brought questions forward. And I'd ask myself, why are you doing this when I'd see certain behavior? And so sometimes it was like an act of avoidance. Like I want to suppress this over here. And so I go on automatic pilot and I begin this behavior, of just sort of checking out and comforting myself with food. I did that a lot. Um, and once I was conscious of that, then I could say, okay, so I feel like I want Oreo cookies and Doritos right now, like specifically. And I had now begun to notice that I wanted chemically type things that we all know aren't good for us, like, the ingredients that we've been warned about, but I really wanted them. And instead of indulging and checking out and indulging to like satisfy that urge, I sat with the part of me that wanted that and asked it questions like why the Oreos and why right now? Like what are you so, uncomfortable with? Because I found out I reach for those things as comfort foods. They bring me comfort, for instance. I say a lot to myself. I just feel better. I need to feel happy right now. My
Hmm.
life is in the turlet, and I just need something to look forward to and to be happy
Mhm.
that I'm alive. So the party in the mouth was a big reason, just like
Mhm.
it was like a relief valve, if you will. And so once I acknowledged that reality, that truth to myself, I had to do some forgiveness work that I chose to do that and make a new choice. And then I chose to become my own best friend and say, well, how can we work through this? What would make you feel better that doesn't include killing yourself? Because there are plenty of options that we could engage in right now that would make us feel better for real, not just a pretend moment of instant gratification that leads to more self-hatred and more dis-ease within my body. And so I started pointing out to myself things that I could do instead and then engaging in them. And a lot of it was the research, the reading of the book, because whatever book was before me, or um, having a friend to talk to, or because people were coming into my life now who were on a similar path and who were excited to share with me what they were learning. And I realized that there are things I could do to help myself that were encouraging, but also supporting of where I wanted to go, not where I've been, because I was leaving that behind. I'm following the yellow brick road. And so I have to keep, stepping in a new direction. And and the synchronicities were there, like the people, the information, all of that. And when I threw myself into it and I learned stuff, I get really, really excited, and then I want to share it with everybody. And I find that when I learn something, it stays with me longer if I teach it to you. If I just hear myself speaking on it and saying, I do this and I've tried that and this works and not so much that. And so what are you doing? How do you handle these emotions when they come up? And I asked a lot of thin people. So how do you handle stress? What do you do when you're feeling, because I see that they're not shoving it, suppressing it down, packing it in behind food. So what do you do? And, the answers were just as varied and different as the people I was asking, but it gave me a smorgasbord of new choices to experiment with. And I'm so grateful that I did that. Um, because really the universe was putting in front of me exactly who I needed, exactly when I needed it. But I had to be willing to engage in that conversation, to be vulnerable and to, ask the weirdo question. But it led to the most beautiful discussions and um, the knowledge that I was craving and that I needed that was just right for me. And so each little brick was a different piece of the healing journey for me. And I did that for several years. And so I lost the weight, but I didn't lose 100 pounds in a year. I lost 150 pounds in 14 years. But that's okay. I've kind of noticed that I lose 20 pounds a year. And I'll kind of lose a little and gain a little and lose a little and gain a little. And I play like this. And at the end of the year in reflection, I'll notice I'm 20 pounds down. And it's kind of like I have to maintain that for a year or so, that 20-pound loss before I'll shed another 20 pounds. And it used to frustrate me to no end that it was going so slowly. Because it took a long time even for me to notice the gains.
But you're going through even the subtle layers too, and the subtle layers are the
Deep.
causal layers, right? So you have to work at that deep level. And like you've pointed out before, if you lose weight too fast, it can actually like really be dangerous for the body.
Yes.
I don't think that's something that any one of us really thought about. I know I certainly didn't. With my gastric bypass, I lost 150 pounds in way less than a year.
Mhm.
And yet I also spent, and I never thought about this until you and I had a conversation about this later. I spent after about a year and a half of feeling pretty good as I was losing all that. But then I spent all 12 years housebound and bedridden.
Hmm.
And I had no clue as to why or what. But we've had, and we can talk about that in this one or in another series, because I'd like to do a whole series of this.
Yeah.
Because we brought up, you helped me see that there is not just a danger in that losing weight, but also because there is also trauma stored within that weight.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to talk about next. Um, because I did this healing journey for a long, long time, right? Because it was that was as fast as I could go safely. And I was told that all the time
I want to ask
by my guidance.
really quick, if you didn't necessarily have trouble with weight, did you, Summer?
No, I've always been pretty thin.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to back up and double check there with you on that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Lisa, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Um, yeah, so I just want to catch you up to speed to like why I want to talk about this so badly right now. Because I learned a lot, and like I said, I lost 150 pounds and I was feeling like is better than I ever have my whole life. I really thought I was in the best health, and I was listening to my internal guidance, and I was following synchronicities, and I was learning everything I could and digesting so many books on the topic and talking to a lot of people, who were where I wished to be. And I took it all in. And what happened for me, according to my guidance, is that I reached the level of actually, so you could say I lost that weight outside in. So the latest weight that I had, the most recent weight gain went first. So it kind the pounds peeled off in this, you know, in a very orderly fashion. So by the time I was losing the visceral fat, and what I mean by that is the fat closest to my organs. So you could even say the fat clinging to my organs. So this fat has been with me since my child. This is the old, like you were saying, trauma. And I learned that fat encapsulates toxins. And I also learned that there is such a thing as toxic emotion. And trauma is toxic emotions trapped within the body. So as I begin to lose this weight, I'm freeing up the traumatic experiences and the old debris from too many Oreos and Doritos and M&Ms from my childhood that I used to escape my childhood trauma. And my body could not safely get rid of it fast enough. And I did not yet have an awareness of how important binders are, meaning support for the body to detox safely, to grab hold of that stuff and to let it exit through the toilet. And instead, it burrowed into my organs. And so I found myself at a critical state. I was in organ failure, essentially. And I didn't know that's what was happening to me until I knew what was happening to me. And by then it was, you know, in the hospital, they made sure I understood that I was in, you know, stage 4 level organ collapse. And so that caught my attention very, very quickly. And I had gone into the hospital with a sense of, I got this. I know how to heal my body. Me and my body are good old friends, and we'll do this together. And I'm so happy that I had that on board, because I think that in and of itself is how I survived the whole experience, to be honest with you. So I've learned a lot since then about binders and detoxing safely, and also more about nutrition and nourishment and balance and all kinds of things my body had yet to share with me, including the effects of cortisol, so stress, and processing trauma properly so that it doesn't eat you alive, essentially. And so that's where I'm at in this journey right now. And I have a feeling that because of, you know, I got into this trouble, not all by myself. There's a situation of, well, I like to refer to this as the mind virus going on here, and the standard American diet is a symptom of the mind virus we have. So we've got a parasite that is informing right now our choices as a culture, and that's up for review. And I'm not the only one who eats the standard American diet. And I'm not the only one who is feeling the ramifications in the body of doing so. And so I thought, you know, perhaps not everyone has a weight problem and emotional problems or childhood trauma, but everyone has enjoyed the standard American diet, you know, to one degree or another. And that is something I think that we all have in common. and that we can support each other through as we begin to purge and detox ourselves. And I don't think there's any there I just don't feel like there's a choice in the matter anymore. I think the energies that are emanating from the planetary heartbeat itself is quickening the pace of a detox, as well as the beautiful and supporting high frequency energies coming from Father, Son. And I think together our loving parents are detoxing us because it needs to happen, because there's unconditional love for us. And so I encourage, let's all get conscious about where we are and look at it and forgive it and decide to connect to nature, to our eternal, um, divine, eternal nature, and let it inform us as to how we can get ourselves out of the mess we've created here, because there is a way out, and it's trying to knock on everyone's door right now. It is. And I encourage everybody to answer the door, to answer that call and take the journey with me. So for me, the body piece is really an invitation to join me in exploring what we can do instead of what we have been doing that supports our well-being and where we wish to go, as a culture, as a people. Because I think the path we're on now leads to extinction. And so unless and until we turn that around, that's really the track for humanity. And so I want to turn it around, and I'm turning it around for me. And I think you can turn it around for you. And together we could create something totally different.
Exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's do it.
All right. And I want to thank you, Summer, for coming, because Summer's in our book study group and we get together and read together. This is what I have found is very helpful for me, to come together with like-minded folks who want to also love themselves more and to learn about themselves and the reality that we live in. And in so doing, we have found commonalities. And so I just am very grateful for you, Summer, that you were that you were there, that you are a huge source of inspiration and support to me throughout all of this. And I'm so grateful that you too want to talk about it and play this way with me, because I think this is super important, what we have going on here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been just so blessed to know both of you and to study with both of you in our book clubs, but also just to like compare notes and learn about what's going on and what the insights that each person brings to the table is wonderful. And yeah, I really enjoy listening to your insights and your experiences, because they help me see my own, life in a different way as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You've brought so much to this conversation. So thank you for doing that in a
Absolutely.
public manner, because I think a lot of people can benefit from the gifts that you bring. And I'm excited to
Well,
dig into
you
that
both
some
know I
more.
concur. You both know I concur because it's been, one of the most helpful things I have experienced is doing all of this in company.
Yeah,
The reading of the books together, oh gosh, yes.
I
The
know.
conversations together, oh yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Because they do serve me so well to help me see me.
Mhm.
You know, so I'm just so grateful to both of you for wanting to come and play like this and I really do feel that the more we do it and the more folks feel that call and feel called to also join in company. Now, it's my experience early on, there has been times when folks would join thinking that it's going to be something else. But it really is all about seeing oneself and moving through getting to that has to do with self. Now, I can't fix anybody else. None of us here has the idea I'm gonna tell you, oh, listen, I could tell you what I think you ought to do. But that does not mean, first of all, that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Number one, or number two, that it would work, because all I can do is share what may have worked for me. It does not mean that it would work for somebody else. It just that's all we can do is share what our experiences have been. And I'm just so grateful, because there's a lot of things. Lisa and I actually live together, and there's a lot of things that she does that I don't feel would be right for me. And a lot of things I do, I know she feels is not right for her. So it's not like, we're
And
all,
yet we support each other and complement each other so beautifully. What a gift.
exactly. And allow, that's for me, it is the allowance of just the allowance of it, to be honest with you, because that for me has allowed me to see me in ways I could not have seen in other situations, I feel. And the getting together and doing the books in company again, that for me, I feel like I have access to everything that both of you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I think that's why it's so valuable.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has something to teach me. And I want to show up now ready to receive the gifts. I'm ready for that. I don't have all the answers. I have some answers for me and a lot more questions. The more answers I find, keep leading to more questions. So it's very important then for me to continue to find the gifts that others bring. Because if we're all one being, right? When I look into your eyes, I'm looking at my own self. And I don't want to dismiss or cut myself off from the rest of me, because that would be silly. I want to merge with all of me and to get the benefit of the wisdom that comes from each one. And all together is the big picture. Now we're knowing something.
I really feel like ever since I really started understanding multidimensionality in the way that I now feel like I do understand it. That is what you just said, what makes what you just said absolutely the case, because I'm well aware that part of this game was to be able to have a myriad of experiences all at one time. That is how it can be that Lisa and Summer are another instance of the one peering out from that vessel. And really, all we have access to in that vessel is all the experiences that have taken place while in that vessel. Now, some folks bring, memories and whatnot from other lives, and that's all well and good. But for me, I tend to look at it as just what I've experienced while in this vessel, because that's how it works for me. Sometimes I get little inklings, but that's just kind of gravy. That's extra gravy, if you will. It's not the goal necessarily, because the goal is to have the experience of that which calls itself Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I really understood that the instance of me that is Summer and the instance of me that is Lisa isn't the instance of Sheila, it's the instance of the one.
Yes.
The one. And from that perspective, because I mean, ask any cop that has questioned eyewitnesses at an accident scene. Everybody has a different perspective of, and that is the entire point of the one that is also singular in nature, is to have all those different delicious experiences to share or not to share, as perhaps anyone wants to, but I don't know. Ever since I really understood that, that has made life that much more fun
Mm-hmm. It's
rather
like a
than
playground.
that.
Yeah.
James Witkus has joined us, ladies, and he says we can unlock genetic memories. I think that'd be fun. I think that's something that you've actually touched a little bit on, haven't you, Lisa, in other conversations, and also probably moving forward in the body piece, because I'd like for this to be a multiple series of conversations.
I think it is. Yeah. It's
No, I
amazing.
didn't call your name. My phone just lit up.
Wants to get in on this conversation.
Yes, because
It's
of
so
the word that I
good.
said. But yeah, because if you both are game, I'd love for this to be a several part. I won't say that word again.
Right.
That we could share with everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because you could go down many rabbit holes, and there's with the body, there's so much confusion, you
Mhm.
know, and so much conflicting information about health. And I just, it's kind of overwhelming and frustrating, really, when you think about it. And it kind of also highlights the fact that you really need to go within, and ultimately your inner feeling and guidance about what's right for you has to be the ultimate decider. And you can't just follow all the advice. Like, I've done that. you know and it just like, and you'll follow this one path, and then oh, there's been new research, and that's not really, like, helpful, or that's this or that's that. And like, for my most recent health kind of crisis last year, I found that one of the things that was um detrimental to me was that I was doing lots of research. I've always been very interested in health and well-being, and I'll do my own research. I'll buy the books, or I'll listen to different people talking about different subjects. And I know that detox is like a big, it's a big field of study. So many people who don't know anything about it are talking about it on social media, right? And so you start to get sucked into these rabbit holes with, what they think is necessary for a detox. And it's just, a lot of it's very surface level information. And where I went wrong was, I was taking the detox herbs, I was doing the detox stuff, but I wasn't following through with the binder piece, like you had mentioned, Lisa.
Mhm.
And I didn't recognize, and most people won't tell you on the surface level, oh, don't forget the binder, and why this is important. And then there's obviously lots of other things like how well functioning is your liver, for instance.
Right?
Can it handle this detox, or do you need to give your liver some love and nourishment first before you start to do this? So it's like it's a multifaceted approach that needs to be taken. And so what I ended up doing was, because I wasn't doing the whole process, I was inadvertently like retoxifying myself over and over for many years. And I didn't even realize it, until like I started having lots of symptoms last year. And I was like, something's wrong.
Right.
My
Well,
body finally like getting, filled to its capacity.
I feel like what you're speaking to there, I started to see for myself because, because of all the research I was doing, I would see something and think, oh, okay, that's and it might have worked for me for a time, right? Just like I'm sure you felt great at first when you started doing that detoxing thing. So it might work for a time. But if we're not in tune, and here's the other thing that I want to say about this. Um, for myself, I feel like no one, including the professionals, actually know
Yeah.
Yeah.
what it is, how it's going to work for you, because they don't know what they don't know about you. Just like I don't know what I don't know about me. Right. And so if I'm not in tune with my body, if I haven't really gotten in here, if I haven't been in good, solid communication with my body, then no one actually, including myself, is going to know if it's going to work, how well it's going to work, all of these different things, because we don't know what it is that we don't know. And that is the only thing for me now, is to go with whatever I am feeling.
Yes.
If I don't feel it, I'm not going to do it, and so forth, because we just have to, I feel like. Well, Lisa actually has a big story about that. Do you mind?
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit to say it too.
Okay, please do. I'm going to step away for a moment, but
Okay.
please do.
Yes. Well, for me, this is a really, 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 really big piece. You do have to learn to trust yourself. And so I spent that 14 years learning how to trust myself and really trusting myself. When I was falling off the cliff, I was questioning, what the heck happened? I was trusting and I was doing everything that I was feeling called to do. And I was answering the call of my soul. And yet I still fell off that cliff. And from that experience, now that it's in the rear view mirror for me, at least the big portions of it, I'm still, in process. I'll never be done. As long as I'm alive on planet Earth, I'm in this process. But looking back at 2025, I can see now that I needed the lessons that I learned, and I needed it just the way it unfolded. And even though it was painful for me, it leveled me up in ways that I could never have imagined as I was going through it. Um, when I was experiencing it, I had a choice to give up trusting myself, because I was sternly admonished for my way of life. Let me just put it that way. By the doctors who were treating me. And actually who saved my life. I by the time I came into the hospital, I was 24, within 24 hours, I would have had a cardiac event that no one survives, a collapse of my right ventricle. And so I had to acknowledge that there is some good in the medical system, and that, you know, the wisdom that they bring to the table is important, because for years I had dismissed it quite handily. I can handle this myself. So that was an invitation to doubt my inner guidance and to put it down altogether, and to decide that perhaps I was all wet all these years, and place my authority, my power in an external source yet again. And I wrangled with that for back and forth for a good 6-8 months. You know, going, no, I've got this, and maybe I don't. I don't know what I'm doing. But I see that now as a test of my own trusting of my own abilities. Because when I look back on it, I knew when to go to the hospital. I knew when to seek assistance. And the synchronicities that happened in the hospital and the way that it went down, I now realize was not only for my highest good, but there were other people involved that got a chance to meet me and see my case. And they were invited to see the world in a whole new way. And I knew when those magical moments were happening because I could feel it. And we had soul connection and bonding. And then I felt like Source is using me. God is moving through me as me and blessing people where they were. And so then I started to see it as, but did you die though? You know, I didn't. I just had an experience that I could judge as the most horrible experience of my life or the most magical, because both experiences were happening concurrently, side by side. It was parallel experience, one of utter horror and very, very scary, but also the most beautiful, miraculous events that took place that I've ever bore witness to. And so I chose to embrace the horror because it brought gifts. It brought gifts of my wholeness and my sanity to me in ways that I've never experienced before. And I dare say I couldn't have gotten there without the path. You know, like I personally needed that. Did I want it at the time? Absolutely not. But now on the other side of it, I see the beauty of it. I embrace the beauty of it. I am grateful for every experience that I had in the hospital and outside of it. You know, in between hospital stints, I was in and out of the hospital like 8 times from January 5th until the end of July. And that transformed me. I will never be the same again. The woman I used to be died. I literally have transitioned. I cannot go back within me to embody that old thinking, because it just doesn't exist. I broke the mold that held that little person in place. And basically, I feel free. I feel like I have wings. I can go anywhere. I can be anything. And the limits were taken off. So I really do feel like that butterfly that goes into the cocoon turns itself into goo. And that's what the year 2025 did for me. It turned me into the goo. I just returned to the elements, and I allowed that the elements would be upgraded and updated and reconfigured in a way that gave me wings and a much higher perspective on my life and why I'm here. And I wouldn't trade any of my experiences over the past year for any reason, because it made me who I am today. And I am in love with who I am today. I am in love with the life that I have created. that I get to experience every day. And that is not to say that there are no rough moments and that things are always happy peppy and going my way. No, I have learned how to traverse the unhappy because it's there. We have these emotions so that we may experience them. But now I bring my conscious awareness to these experiences, and it's like going skiing, you know. I'm just woo woo. I'm surfing these trails, and I'm avoiding trees and having some close calls and wearing myself out and feeling the exhilaration of being alive and having brand new experiences. And I feel more alive today than I ever did before. And so I know that even if more tragedies befall me, I welcome them and I embrace them because I learn from them. And I just can't see life the way I used to before this experience. So there certainly is hope for all of us who feel as though we're dying right now. That on the other side of death simply is rebirth. So, I invite you to embrace the rebirth. Who are you becoming instead of mourning who is passing away?
Well, I personally feel pretty privileged to have witnessed what happened with you. Mostly because, as I said, being a third party witness. And here you are. I always thought, hey, you really you follow your guidance all the way through. And there were times that the professionals had you questioning your own inner guidance, so much so that you damn near took yourself out the game,
Yep.
putting their opinion ahead of your own.
Their
And so,
expertise
right,
over my own internal guidance.
right. So much so that because as you were uh sharing what your original feelings were about this,
Mm-hmm.
uh to be evaluated for a psych eval, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I tell you, I feel very privileged to have witnessed that and how you stood strong in yourself and I feel as though all of that, all of it, uh, was partially to help you see too that
It was all for me,
you have to follow
for me, not
your
to
own
me.
internal guidance, no matter what.
Yep.
Because it's just sure what I saw, especially after the whole thing with the ibuprofen and what was transpired there, and
Yeah.
then even sticking to your guns after the fact. There were medications that they wanted to put Lisa on. Here they're telling her she has stage 4, final stage 4 stuff going on with her liver. And they want to put her on a medication that causes problems with the liver.
That can kill your liver.
And so in the bringing up of that, the looks on faces just,
There's a lot of cognitive dissonance going on
yeah,
out
so much.
Yeah, I was going to say that cognitive dissonance city.
Yes,
Yeah.
very real.
So getting really strong in one's inner guidance, and staying there is absolutely key, it feels to me. And
Imperative. Yeah.
yeah,
And more in these times,
yes,
more and more, it's going to become more and more imperative,
yes,
for all of us to be very connected with what is right for us and what is true, because oh man, I just feel like it's just going to get more and more complicated and confusing if
Yeah,
you don't.
I
I'm in
agree.
such agreement with you
Yes.
about that,
The
Summer.
stakes are really, really high now.
Yep,
We're playing for keeps,
yep,
and it involves your very life
yep,
sometimes. Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
so, in this age of misinformation, disinformation, fakes, all kinds of stuff, I just I prefer to put my trust in my own self, not in the professionals. I had my own experience being misdiagnosed by the medical industrial complex.
Mhm.
Lisa's had now her own experience,
Yep. I've
and
been initiated.
I'm sure you've been initiated in that as well to some degree, Summer. To the point now where if I listen to my own inner guidance and I take myself out the game, it must have been my time to go.
Right.
That's what I'm
Well,
doing.
it's kind of like I'd rather die being me and choosing my own path
That's right.
than acquiescing and giving my power to live to someone else.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because what kind of life is that?
None. That doesn't feel good to me at all. No. I did it my way. I mean, that's it. I really, at least I can own it. And that feels really good. It does.
Mhm.
So, Summer, do you have how have you had an opportunity to share all that you wanted to share in this particular series? And if so, and you feel complete in this one, I hope that you will come back and join us again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think so. I don't really have anything burning to add or anything like that, but I love this conversation, and I know it's an endless one.
Right?
Yes.
That makes it fun too.
Yes, it does. Well, there's so much synchronicity around all of what has happened with Lisa's health
Mhm.
and with her now newfound journey with her health. And Lisa, do you want to tell everybody what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, so we're starting another book study. I've been reading Dr. Davis's book here, Super Gut. You might know him from his other bestseller, Wheat Belly, and he talks about digestion, in particular, the problems wheat is causing for all of us. And I really realized that for myself many, many years ago, early on in my journey. And I would have told you I was gluten intolerant. Um, but now I've come to see it more as like I'm allergic to glyphosate. But I think that a number of things have happened that we've denatured the very foods that we are eating. And so the first half of my journey was just sort of avoiding a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm.
And I realized that actually through this book, Dr. Davis's book, Super Gut, that there's more to it. Just like with the detoxification, I had a little piece of it, but there was more to the story that I did not have. And so he's coming in with a new piece that not only are there foods I must avoid, because I have the metabolic syndrome, the leaky gut, and basically it's my microbiome is, I think, the root cause now of absolutely. I was diagnosed with 4 autoimmune diseases that are overlapping, and it's not a great prognosis for me. I mean, at best, if, according to what the medical establishment has to offer, I have a few good years and then I'm outie. And if I were to accept the help they're offering, I'd have a year or two at best.
Mm.
So I'm going to help myself and get to the bottom of what are the source of my issues? And this book has a lot of answers, not only for me, but I think for Americans in general. Because not only are there foods we have to avoid, but there's a whole microbiome world that we need to get acquainted with and repopulate the gut. And so that is my focus right now. And I'm finding that the deeper I delve into this topic in particular, the better I am feeling. And it's now showing up in my labs. I'm no longer, I also was diagnosed with extreme malnutrition. And I am that label has been removed. I have been able to reestablish my stores of nutrition, and we're still working on some electrolytes, but balance, equilibrium, homeostasis, however you want to label it, is returning to me finally. And I feel it. I feel it in my mood. I feel it in my digestion. I feel it in how my bowels are moving, how my skin feels and looks. My hair that was falling out in clumps is returning. Um, I feel like myself again. Like I feel creative. I feel excited about life. Like it's almost like I am totally being reborn and I have the eyes of a child again because that's how important the microbiome is to a human body. And so, anyway, I have to share my excitement about what I'm learning because when I do that, more comes to me. And so, I am going to start a book study group. And my daughter, who also has all the markers for everything. So, this is in our case, and I believe this is how things work in reality for everyone, but you inherit a particular karmic load in the DNA. So whatever your ancestors could not heal is now in your bodysuit to be dealt with. And I think the way that we're eating today is triggering that. And the loss of our microbiome is accelerating those issues. And so, of course, Jasmine is actually positioned to have these issues in her 40s, not in her 50s. Could even be late 30s if she doesn't move quickly enough to reverse um, the situation. And so her and I are working together now. And she would like to be involved in the book study. So we're going to do a weekend gathering where we study this book together and we share tips and hints and insights. Because, like, Summer, she comes to all of our book study with so much wisdom and knowledge on varied topics. I mean, just millions of them because we've read quite a few books together now in all different topics and arenas. And that's the beauty of coming together in a book study group like this, because as each one shares, we can benefit from the plethora of wisdom that shows up in this room. So I'd just like to invite anyone who feels called to participate to join us. Reach out to Sheila through the Conscious Conversation Central web or email if you wouldn't mind, and let us know of your interest, and we'll send you the data for the meet and greet. And we just get together on Zoom and work out a time that works for everybody, and we play together. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
So, so I will be putting, of course, Conscious Conversation Central at gmail.com. It is and always has been in every video that I've ever put out. It's just at the very bottom of the description. But I will put it in the very top this time, along with the name of the book, because I'm pretty sure since this is a newer book, you might be able to find it at your local library, but I'll tell you, because we read together, this is not like other book clubs.
Yes.
We get together for 2 hours and we read aloud and we stop in the moment and we chat. If
Yep.
you'd like to see what it's like, there are two pretty recent videos of our book club with the Celestine Prophecy on the channel on Sassy Seer Sheila, not New Light Streaming Love. I didn't put it over here. But go over to Sassy Seer Sheila and you'll be able to see, because I don't normally publish our book club videos for the main for anybody other than the group that because but we record them so that if you have been with us and you can't come or you're late or whatever, you won't miss out on anything because we do read together and then we have conversation. And nobody likes to miss out. So if you have to miss, that way you can get caught up. And sometimes when the conversation has been a really good one, I get nudged to ask if anybody minds if I publish it. And of course, that's what you see on the channel is one of those, or well, two. We've done a couple of those throughout. We did some with you too, didn't we?
I think so. Some of our previous ones were
Right. I think with the soul's journey,
Mm.
for the most part, maybe even with the all the way back to the Joshua channelings, there might have been, although
Probably.
I don't know
Could
if
be.
those would appear on this channel. They were probably on Corona Rising.
Yeah.
So, make sure if you're interested to put Super Gut in the title of your email to me, because I also am launching another book club for the Celestine Prophecy and Experiential Guide.
Yeah,
And
I'm
this is,
really excited about this one.
yes, because now these are going to be running concurrently, just not on the same day. So this will be a totally separate one. You can come to one or both. It's at your choice. And of course, as always, there's never any charges for any of this. This is all just because we want to and we enjoy it, and it's an open invitation for you to join us. So have I left out anything, ladies?
So the super gut one is going to be on the weekends.
Yes,
That one, yeah. She just doesn't have a timing yet,
right.
right?
I have a tentative date in place, and I think we can just go ahead and announce it. I wanted to do the 8th of March. So it's the very first Sunday in March at like 3 o'clock. So
Okay.
that we can just get together and find out what works best for those, that choose to come. And because a lot of Jasmine's friends are working gals and weekends are when they're open. And so she asked specifically, so if weekends are your gig and you want to join us, please do. And don't even worry about the time and date. If you're interested in the super gut, we can always have another group going because I just love to meet people and talk about this subject. So I wouldn't mind having a few of these going if we wanted to do a weekday study group or an evening study group. If there's interest, then I'm interested. So, don't let the weekend put you off. But if weekends where your availability is, please join us then on the 8th.
On the 8th. So I
Yep,
want to
we're
make
gonna
sure.
start, that's our first Sunday in March.
No, and that's why I
It is,
wanted to make sure
oh,
you
thank
meant
you.
the 8th. Did you actually mean the 8th? Because that's the second Sunday in March.
Oh, yes,
Okay, so you did,
yes,
but
I
you did
did.
need the 8th. Okay.
Yep.
So the March 8th at 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern time, guys.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
and if you will, just that's going to be the meet and greet, is that correct?
Yes, to
Okay,
get together and decide when everybody, you know, it just depends on who all is interested in joining, and then we'll, you know, we'll form something that works for everybody there.
right,
So
okay,
you can say
perfect.
what your schedule is and what timing works best for you.
All right, perfect. And so just send
Exciting.
an email to consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. Or if we're friends on Facebook already, feel free to send me a private message and let me know which book or both books that you want to be a part of. And we'll make sure you get the link for Zoom. And wow, ladies, I am so grateful to you both. And I've been feeling the desire for conscious conversations to come back.
Me
And
too. I've missed them so very much.
oh, I'm so glad. I mean, I'm not glad you missing out, but I'm glad that you
That we're
feel that.
ready to come back. Yeah, I'm getting my energy back and I'm feeling like me again, and I am ready to play.
Well, awesome.
Yay.
Yes.
Hey,
I'm
let's
really,
play.
yes. Okay, so thank you both for coming, and that's it. I have resumed putting out videos, and you can start expecting to see those more often. I did want to do a an intuitive hangout session, and then I tried to do it over the weekend, but I didn't know about some stuff that was going on over the weekend, and so I got all messed up with that. But you can look for some of those if the energy holds. See, that's I never know for myself because I too was diagnosed with anemia, and sometimes I just get wiped out by the time the afternoon comes. But look for an intuitive hangout session to be coming your way soon because I want to get back into doing that because I really enjoyed the interaction with folks for that. So thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
And we are going to do this again. We just don't know when, right?
Mhm.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
Until next time, mwah, be well,
Much
everyone.
love. Thank you for joining us.